Hi! Welcome to Hang Outlander, episode 202. Not in Scotland anymore, I think is the title of it. I'm not really sure. This is That's Normal. This is Hang Outlander, and we have an incredibly fun, special event Hang Outlander for you tonight. We have the girls from My Outlander Purgatory with us, and we are so excited that they're here. I've already had way too much wine. And it's going to be a good night. I'm Beth. I write for That's Normal. We're here talking about episode 2, season 2 of Outlander. And if you missed it, this is spoiler central. Okay, so stop, go watch the episode, then come back and laugh with us because that's what we're planning on doing. I'm also having some popcorn tonight, so I apologize for eating. But I'm having a little bit of wine. We're all going to be drinking. It's going to be a crazy night. And I want to get straight into introducing our special guests. Tracy, say hello. Tell everybody what you're drinking.
Hello, everyone. I'm Tracy. I am from My Outlander Purgatory, one of the two crazy chicks. I'm going fancy, y'all.
Ooh.
Look, I even pulled out the crystal. For this.
Nice.
I'm going to tell you all it's champagne. But in reality, the champagne at King's is really expensive, so it's Prosecco, which I figure is probably okay since Prince Charlie is from Italy, so Shalom Dava.
Perfect tie-in.
Yeah, absolutely. And it matches his jacket from this week.
There you go.
You're right ahead. Carol, say hello.
Hello, Carol from My Outlander Purgatory. Thank you guys so much for having us tonight. And I broke out what I consider to be the yummy stuff. For this.
Ooh.
Little Santa Margarita, Pinot Grigio.
Nice.
Yeah.
And you've got your Scotland book just appropriately placed in the background.
So totally, you caught me.
Y'all do have some nice branding, marketing, product placements in there. You got your Outlander books hanging out there, Tracy. I'm like, I have an ear pillow behind me.
Speaking of product placement, I'll introduce myself. This is Becca, and you might see that I have brought 3 little friends with me tonight, sitting right here. I'm drinking a delicious Zinfandel by the winery BR Cone. I highly recommend it. You should check out this Zinfandel. And yeah, I have nothing else to say. Good to be here. So glad that you guys are here with us. This is really fun and exciting. And Amy, is this your first Hang Outlander with us?
Maybe.
Well, we have the writer of our fabulous recap of this week, Amy, with us.
Hey, everybody. I'm Amy. What am I drinking tonight? I poured some of my boyfriend's Lefroy, but let's be honest, that it tastes like shit. So I'm drinking a boom sauce instead. I'll be double fisting tonight in my Crate and Barrel glasses.
Nice.
Yes.
And Nikki.
Hi guys, I'm Nikki. I write and own That's Normal with Becca. I just have some ice in an old Starbucks cup, and that's real sad because I'm late. Can I just go and get a drink while you guys start talking?
Sure.
Yes,
you need to.
Scanning the Twitters, use hashtag. What did you say? Sorry.
No, go ahead. It's Hang Outlander tonight.
Use hashtag HangOutlander to tweet with us and chat, and of course we'll be giving something fun away. Becca, why don't you show that?
Sure. I am here to show you what we're going to give away tonight. We've got a Divergent ball cap.
That's the bonus gift.
Yeah, we're not actually going to give this away because I actually think I look too good in it to give it away. We have, once again, an Outlander Stars flask. We've given away one of these, I think, it's like Jesus turning water into wine. He's reached into my, that's not right. That's not the right analogy. It's bread and fishes. No, not Mary Poppins. I'm talking about Jesus here. The bread and the fishes. It just keeps coming. These are never ending. I don't know why. We give these away all the time, and every time I look in my bag, I have another Outlander flask. I actually think this is the last one, so this is a very important flask. So whoever is just hanging out with us tonight on the internet that we feel like giving it a flask to, you're going to win it. So just hang out with us.
Actually, use the hashtag, and then you'll get entered.
Obviously,
then you get entered in the thing. So it's not just random.
Well, it's random people using the hashtag, obviously. I'm sorry that I wasn't obvious in my instructions.
Just want to make sure that everybody understands the rules.
That's
Those are
true. We're
very
not gonna give
specific rules.
Otherwise, it's going to go to Tay Diggs, who follows us, and about 500,000 other
Tay
people.
And Graham McTavish.
That's true. Great.
Yay, Graham McTavish.
You know Graham wants that flask.
Yeah, he does. All right.
Let's get into this episode, you guys. I want everybody on the panel to tell us in one sentence your elevator pitch for the plot of this episode without relying on your knowledge of the book. What was this episode about? And or just give us your one sentence summary of the episode. Free for all.
Can I say mine?
Yeah, go ahead.
Everybody's talking about my red dress. I got my red dress. I got my short dress on.
Good job. Very beautiful.
Lovely.
Tracy, were you going to say something?
I was going to say, and I do have to kind of cheat a little bit, and just because the first thing I wrote down about this when I first saw it was all the book reader bits condensed into one episode, and we've got it all out of the way, so God knows what's going to go on from here, but there you go.
Mine is that it's the Fellowship of the Plaid. I felt like we met 17 new characters today. And if you had no idea like what was coming up, if you'd never read the book, you were like, wow, another new person, and another new person, and another new person, and who's taking Frodo to the Mount Doom. It just was so many characters. That's what it felt like to me.
Or just, my husband was watching it, and he did watch, he doesn't know anything about it, and he's like, who, like when the Duke of Sandra, I can't say things after I read them. Sandringham?
Sandringham.
When he was like, who's that? And I mean, it just, he doesn't remember that we've already met him.
Right.
So I think that's a very good observation. My one sentence summary, because that's all I did, this is my one sentence feeling about it. I'm sorry, I'm breaking the rules.
Okay.
And that is, I would rather wear that dress with the nipple piercings than watch this episode again.
But wear it where? Like cosplay it at Comic-Con?
No, I would wear it for real walking down the streets of Philadelphia and watch that episode again.
Challenge.
Carol, do you have an opinion?
Yes. I think I would sum it up by saying, wax on, wax off.
Oh, man.
My one sentence is just skip this one, guys. Just keep going.
Next.
I'd even watch Scotland's Got Talent episode from last season again before I would watch this one. So that's where we're headed tonight, everyone.
It was funny.
We may not have loved it. We may not have loved it.
So when I didn't watch it. I didn't watch it till last night, and Nikki then watched it like 3 hours after me. So I was in bed, and we have this group text of all of our, Outlander writers for the show, and I said all these things, and then I woke up this morning to 128 texts, and I read them, and I'm like, these are all the things that I said 3 hours before Nikki said them. They were like the same thoughts.
Well,
we're the same person.
It lent itself to a lot of the same observations. I mean, you're not going to like kind of go off rails or whatever. I haven't read anything that was like super revelatory or anything. I think everybody kind of feels the same way.
Well, and I was thinking about it earlier. I was like, okay, like I feel so negative about this episode, but I feel like the benefit of being a fan of something and liking something so much is that you're very forgiving. Like, whatever, okay, like let's try it again. And also, that's a hard thing about being a fan about something is that you're a lot more disappointed than somebody else. Somebody who's a casual watcher of the show and likes to watch it every week and thinks it's good would have been like, okay, whatever, it was just an episode of a show, as opposed to like my feelings, which were just like, what did I just watch?
All right, well, so let's get into it, Rick.
Okay.
I said that we meet a ton of characters in this episode. There's Suzette, the maid, who's going to be important later on. Master Raymond, Mary Hawkins, Louise, Prince Charles, King Louis, Annalise, Duvernay, I don't know how to say his name, Alex Randall. So out of all of like 10 of those guys, who's your favorite? Who's the best cast? Who's your least favorite? And who's the worst cast?
So many parts.
That's a lot.
Okay,
of fun.
I'll go first because I don't mind. I'm tipsy already. So, my least favorite is probably Mary Hawkins. She seems to forget that stuttering is a part of her characterization. And one of you guys said that she looks like Sophia the First, and now it's totally ruined for me. I see her and I'm like, I was a girl in the village doing all right. All the moms will know what I'm singing in that time.
Are you gonna sing every time you
Yeah.
comment?
Every time she comment, that's the goal.
Oh,
Tonight.
it's happening.
Okay.
I would say Annalise was like, why were we wasting time on this relationship that probably means nothing, besides the fact that you got some good gifts of Claire making a face. Master Raymond, loved him, and Alex Randall, okay. I mean, afterwards people showed me his picture and they're like, oh, they look similar. And I'm like, okay, I believe you now. But during the episode, I was like, okay.
I didn't get it either.
Yeah.
You know, I kind of was like, am I missing something? No.
Yeah, I didn't feel like he super looked like Tobias or anything like that. It didn't have the same impact as it does in the book, but I guess it's not supposed to. It's supposed to, be different.
Does she? I don't remember in the book. Does she kind of know the resemblance right away?
He looks
she
just like her.
She almost faints, right?
Okay.
She does faint, doesn't she? Like pass out?
Yes.
So in this case, she didn't know until he told her, right? I can't
Yeah,
remember that back to last night. Okay.
Right.
They're not going in that direction here. They're not really worrying about how much they look alike in this one.
Yeah. And I loved the idea, I loved the idea that there's so much alike that the rest of what happens later on is super believable. And this wasn't, especially with Mary Hawkins being like so mawkish and, oh my gosh, her name is Mary Hawkins and she's mawkish. She could just take her name and her initial and just smash it together, and that's her like OTP name. I agree that Matt Raymond was the best cast. I don't think they could possibly have found another person who's a frog person.
Yeah, he's a frog
and
person.
French. He was perfect. He's exactly how you like.
He's really French, that actor.
Yeah.
We were watching, and my boyfriend goes, "It's the duck face guy from Amelie." I was like, what? Who?
That's true. He is.
Excited.
His name is like Dominique Pignol or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
That's way more French than what's his name, the Comte Saint Germain, whose name is like Richard
Stan.
Smith. Yeah.
Stan.
Yeah.
That's what I call him.
Danny.
Yeah, my least favorite had to be Bonnie Prince Charlie because you could not find someone who was more terrible and annoying and couldn't figure out an accent or anything. It's like, oh my god, who is this guy? Are we supposed to like him? Like,
No.
I don't want to help him out. Don't go and die in his name. He's terrible.
If that was, he's what the character was supposed to be, then sure, the douche fumes were like wafting off him. I was just like, forget this whole plan of the finances. Just like introduce him to everybody in Scotland. Nobody's gonna fight for him.
Totally,
Exactly.
that's a good point. I really liked King Louis.
I
Besides,
did too,
like,
actually.
I mean, I thought he was really, obviously I
Wait.
was so disgusted with him.
The guy taking a shit.
Yep, that guy. I was so disgusted and is this a real thing? I can't remember details. And then, but just is that a thing that happened in history? People sat around and applauded people while they were constipated.
Hold on just a sec, because
Okay.
Diana Gabaldon wrote this book. She wrote that scene in the book. You really think it didn't happen in history?
That's true.
It happened.
That happened in history. Okay,
She
but then
probably- she probably knows the exact color velvet that was on his movie bench.
I know. I saw that scene and I was like, okay, Diana, I'm glad you're into research. It's, served us well, but no one gives a shit about this guy taking a dump.
it was so
what
long.
are we watching on? I'm paying premium television to watch a guy take a dump.
Or
Like,
tried
what
to.
in the world?
So I didn't like that part. I could have gone without, and I felt like in a lot of the things, we'll get to them, I'm sure, they just were drawn out. Like that was like a good 5 minutes longer than it needed to be. That whole scene.
Yeah.
But when he came back in, he like was kingly and like had his nipple lady with him. I was like, oh, and he was like attractive. It was like
Yes.
it worked. I was like, oh, there's a king right there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I liked him too. I think he was my favorite of all of the new characters that were introduced.
Yes.
I liked that he would, be. I don't remember anybody's name, but like the finance guy, Duvernay or Duvernay, whatever. Sort of verbally like toss him aside at the same time eyeing Claire, like, and yeah, I really enjoyed him.
Yeah.
Well, I think you just hit on a good point because you're like, what's that guy's name? Like, it's
Too many
that guy,
Somebody tweet us.
wig guy with the foot guy.
Yeah, Duvernay.
Yeah, the one that got tossed over and hit on somebody guy. Like, which one? They all, like,
Yeah.
great.
His wig looks like Striper guy.
Yeah. Was he that big of a deal in the book? I know that we don't talk about the book a lot, but I just remember the foot thing and then the guy going away. But was he somebody that Jamie was trying to get to do something for him? I don't remember that part.
I don't really. I think it was more. He was more an excuse to sort of. I mean, in the book, it's like it's not outside, it's inside, but it's more of an excuse for Claire to have this like crazy encounter with this like really horny dude.
That's what I thought too.
Yeah, I don't know that he shows up again.
Yeah,
really, unless I'm forgetting it. And I clearly forgot Annalise, so I.
And if he was that important, we would have remembered him.
Yeah.
Right.
Annalise was the girlfriend, right?
Yeah, but I completely forgot she was in Dragonfly. I thought maybe they talked about her, but I totally blanked on that she actually shows up.
Well, she doesn't really. I mean, okay, let's talk about her real quick because they expanded her character and they're going to expand more. She's a footnote at the most in the book. And that seemed like that whole scene seems so overwrought with this like fake drama. We already have a Leary. We already have leg hair. We don't need like another leg hair.
And it doesn't make sense, the drama either, because we know that he was a virgin and we know that he was innocent, like despite the fact that he may have made out with a couple ladies. Like, so it doesn't make sense. Like, he was a virgin. How scandalous is this going to get?
Right.
Anna on Twitter says that she thinks Thrawn is setting up a love triangle with Annalise. Clearly, they're trying to make Claire jealous. That's for sure.
I don't think. I think it's more like political. I think she's going to have a political stake in what's going on, less romantic one.
I mean, even the way they like set it up, like there's no competition with Claire. The way she just looks and the way she just held herself, it's like anybody's gonna just look so pathetic compared to her. And that was just, I feel like they shot that intentionally. I don't think that's just Katrina. I think that was an intentional decision on the director's part.
And is the husband dead in the book? Her husband's dead in the show.
I don't even know because she's such a useless part of the book. Like, she's so, I don't even remember, other than him fighting a duel over her, I don't remember anything else about her at all. So, who knows? I don't know. Somebody watching probably knows and they'll tell us.
But Jamie is already dealing with PTSD from his rape. Like, we have to then throw in this drama. Can't we get him over that to where he can start having a romantic relationship that's remotely interesting again? I mean, we have to throw in...
Right.
I mean, I get that. I mean, I'm someone who tapped out in Game of Thrones because I felt that the sexual assault and the sexual politics and everything of that show was just, I couldn't take it anymore. So I appreciate that Outlander is going there with that Jamie was raped and there are repercussions to that. But they need to make it compelling television, and it's just not. And throwing in Annalise with a little side-eye is not fixing it.
Now, let's talk about that PTSD scene. What did you guys think? We have a friend who was like, it was great, it was spot on with how something like that would really feel, and thought that it was like shocking and terrifying. Like, were you guys shocked?
You mean the first one? The stabbing scene?
Yeah. What do you guys think?
I hate dream sequences. I just think that dream sequences are usually pretty lame. I don't think anyone usually ever dreams like a dream sequence makes it seem like they're dreaming. Or maybe my dreams are just messed up. I don't know. But it was just so bloody. I mean, your mind immediately went to other things, to Carrie or to the flash dance of blood. It became comical. I just feel like it wasn't done well.
I kept wanting to hear like the way he's stabbing is so specific to that.
And the first thing I texted you girls was, oh, he sees Tobias when he's having sex with somebody else as well, just like me. And that's not a funny joke to make when you're thinking about the fact that there was like a PTSD really thing happening, but I made it. There's a reason. Like, that's where I went, as opposed to, oh, this is like really hard to see this guy going through this PTSD.
Also, I needed to say this because I watched it again to make sure that this is what happened. But when it happens, it makes it look like if he's having a flashback and not just like a crazy dream, it makes it look like Jamie penetrated Jack. And that is a whole nother level of stuff that didn't happen or that I don't ever assume happened. Like, I assumed it went the other direction.
When? The first flashback or the second one that we see?
The first flashback, because he's having sex with Claire in his dream, and Jack says, don't stop. And Jamie is on top. And so it makes it look like Jamie...
It did, because...
pitched. And I'm not ever assuming that Jamie did that, and so it made me feel very icky about what he's flashing back to.
Mm. And I would say that I didn't get that in the first one. Maybe I have to rewatch it. But the second flashback, I felt that too. I was like, this was like much more intimate. I felt like we saw the intimacy that was there more than I ever wanted to.
It's not this. I don't know. We had somebody say that they were happy that they are doing that because getting over rape is not as easy as it seemed to be, and when you read Outlander, like, he's kind of over it by the time Dragonfly starts, and that's not realistic. So, I mean, there's plenty of people that are cool with that and are okay with that. There's just aspects of it, like, you tweak it just a little bit, and it feels a little bit too out of character or too different than what you're used to seeing or what you're expecting from
Do we think they're going this route because it just kind of ended? There was the last episode, right? Or was it the second to last episode?
No, it was the last episode.
Right. So we didn't get to like deal with what they kind of dealt with at the end of Outlander, or was that in Dragonfly?
It's true.
It was the end of Outlander.
Okay.
Right.
So
by the end of Outlander, that whole aspect, like the bedroom aspect, was resolved. He still, is processing it in Dragonfly, but not in that way. That way's all good.
Maybe we needed the opium dream thing in the grotto at the end of Outlander so we can move past it. I hate that I'm saying this. Like, all right, enough of your PTSD at being raped. It's boring me. But it's boring.
Right.
But, I mean, would we be saying the same thing if this was, like, a female thing? Like, of course we would. Like, we don't see that. Like, episodes and episodes and episodes of, like, dealing with this rape and, like, flashbacks. Like, is that a thing that we're seeing on TV?
Well, someone just mentioned earlier, like, how many times has Claire had to deal with a horny guy up all in her business, and we never really get to see her dealing with PTSD.
Right.
I mean, it's definitely not the same thing, having someone feel up your shoe as opposed to raping you in prison, but... I mean, things have happened to Claire, and women don't seem to be getting the same kind of courtesy.
But that could be the time, too, They wouldn't have gotten the same courtesy no matter what had happened to them.
True. But she would still have it internally,
That's a modern show.
Yeah, they have the modern sensibility to change how they're dealing with it, which is what some people that are saying that it's being dealt with well, that's their point, is that it's actually being dealt with, versus when you read Outlander, it seems like it wasn't dealt with at all. It was just done.
Right.
So, let's talk about something fun.
Okay.
Something completely different.
Moving on.
Yeah. I loved Louise. We didn't talk about her. I wanted to say really quickly that I thought she was fascinating, that she was a great actress, but I was sad because I felt like I can't help that she's going to end up being a plot device. Like, she's not really bringing anything forward, like, to the plot or whatever, but...
Who did you say? Because you cut out.
I'm sorry, Louise.
Okay.
Yeah, I really loved her. Like, I loved all of her scenes, even.
Is she the waxy lady?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I liked her.
She was a lot of fun. You know, I think she's a good match for Claire. She's a little goofy. She doesn't take things too seriously, and it's a nice balance.
I think Louise has a lot more depth in the show than she did in the book.
Yeah.
She's a pet monkey.
She does have a pet monkey.
She has a pet monkey in the book, I think, but she's smart. Like she's like savvy, and I appreciated that. But let's talk about that honeypot scene, because the consensus from everyone that I've seen was that they effed it up. Right? The scene in the book is iconic. It's memorable. It's perfect the way it is. Jamie being shocked and kind of naive about that kind of stuff. Why did they destroy it with the forced like sensuality when it was meant to be like a funny married moment?
Does he say, I liked you better, like whatever his line is? Like, does he even say that line?
No, because she doesn't wax her bits in the book. She waxes her armpits and her legs, and he's like shocked because she tells him that Louise waxes her hoo-ha, and he's like,
says, I'll never,
she's
never
going
do
about, yeah, he's like, she's going about like a bare wee lassie, and it's so funny, and he's so like confused, and it's adorable, and it's one of those moments in the book that you really remember, and they kind of screwed it up with this whole like fake like your thatch was much nicer. It's just gross.
Your forest. Well, maybe because the line about a wee lassie is a little weird. I don't know.
I know, I was kind of like, oh, is he going to say
I'd be like, that's gross, but thanks.
But if she hadn't waxed it and he was being incredulous about Louise, it wouldn't be weird. It'd be like, ooh, she's going around weird like a bare wee lassie. That's weird. It would have been different. It would have been like it was. I don't know. It's one of the only scenes in Dragonfly that super sticks with you, and they screwed it up. They made it weird.
Well, for a show that's really into accuracy in some parts, they totally blew the accuracy. Because as someone who does not look like a wee lassie down there, your first wax, you are not like rub up on this. No, you're like, hand me some ice, and if you touch me within the next 5 days, I'm gonna hit you upside the head.
Yeah, it takes at least a good 32 hours.
Yeah.
Actually. Empirically, it's 37 hours before you can be touched.
But they blew a chance to remind you of why Claire and Jamie work. And they made me I just don't care about them as a couple. Like, if I'm going to feel like Claire's losing her mind, that she's gone back in time and she's having to deal with Frank, I need to feel like she wants to be back in time for a reason. And they're not showing me that. I think we lost Beth.
Can you sing something of your sadness for us, maybe? Just a little lament.
One day I'll lie awake. Some Moulin Rouge.
Something.
There you go.
Beth, what happened to you?
France.
Beth went to get a refill.
Get a refill.
I had to get some more wine, and I didn't even have my earbuds in, but I could hear Amy singing. I don't know. But my earbuds were just buzzing away.
I was South Carolina All-State Chorus, 1990, bitches.
I feel like your accent comes out the drunker you get, girl.
Yeah, let me tell you, this Lafroig tastes like shit, but it works. I think you guys see me every time I sip it, but I'm cringing.
You need to add a little bit of water, and that goes down real nice.
That's a Graham McTavish tip right there.
I mean, it's just a normal Scotch drinking tip, but yes, that is how I like it.
I don't drink Scotch.
Okay, I'm confused about the dildos. Were the hookers offering to use them on the dudes, or was like pegging a thing in Parisian brothels, or are they just really saying, take this home to your wife? Because
it was like a swag bag at the brothel. It was a gift with purchase, and everyone got to take one home and show their wives that they're cheating on them. But whatever.
No. The prostate existed in the 18th century.
But did they know about it?
Oh, trust me. Come on, the Romans came before. They knew.
I think the Mongols introduced them to the prostate. Let's be real. They're the exception.
My.
Why didn't Diana give us that historical tidbit? Who first discovered the prostate?
Oh, doesn't
That's
Jamie
in the next book, Amy.
I want
Next
to
book.
Moby.
Stay tuned.
Y'all, doesn't Jamie come home with a cock ring at some point in Dragonfly? Is that gonna happen?
He does. I
does.
think you're right.
We might be. Hopefully that is to come.
Well,
we better get the full frontal.
Is it going to trigger another PTSD episode if he has a cock ring? Because I'd like that to at least be funny.
Yeah, no more very special episodes, please.
I
We
know.
gotta get this resolved, you know. Well, as Carol said, it's got to be like a Melrose Place episode where, you know, he's got PTSD, but it's done next episode. It's all good.
Yeah.
Yes, it's like
You know,
the
like-
Saved by the Bell episode. She's popping pills, but it's over after that.
Yeah. One episode, done.
Here's a super gross tweet that we need to talk about. Lisa said you could buy or rent the dildos. Wow. Who would want to use a previously used dildo?
And they're wood, right? Those are wooden. We assume.
Ivory.
Wood?
Oh.
I think if
Those
my Regency romance reading is in any way accurate,
Right.
they're made out of wood, ivory, or jade.
Yeah, well, that's actually pretty big still. I do follow this hippie chick. She sells them. They're made from crystals, and she does use jade ones. That's still a thing, guys. That's still a thing.
That's
I'd be down
fine.
with that.
Wood?
But wood. I mean, wood to be carved real smooth.
I just can't get past the multiple uses with no hand sanitizer or anything.
I mean, technically,
Renting
whores
it.
are multi-use.
Did you just say whores are multi-use?
Yes.
Tweet that.
I can't keep up, guys.
Can't keep up with this bananas.
There's
Oh,
so many tweets and so many quotes. Oh my
I
gosh.
just get really embarrassed when Sam Heughan is meant to be sensual. I get really physically hot. Not in the good way, in the embarrassed way. I'm like, oh, it's awful. I'm sure in real life he's perfectly fine in bed, but when it's on TV, I'm like,
What are you thinking of in that scene?
like the honeypot scene when he's like, you got rid of such a nice forest. And it's
Well, it's because he's saying something lame as hell, and you've met him in person, so it's like, ooh.
I think, but let's talk about how, because I think we all agreed on this on our text, how good he looked in that brothel scene. Like, the best I think he's looked in a long time. Like, hello, put his hair back in a ponytail more often, people.
yes.
The time.
That was
Absolutely.
awesome.
Plate that shit. Plate it up.
Plate it.
Just make it where we forget he has hair altogether. That's all we need to see. A ribbon and a braid. I'm so drunk right now.
It hits you all at once.
It did. I didn't eat enough popcorn to marry it, balance it out. Okay, so I have a publicity question because I asked Terry this question today. She was talking about the red dress and asked if it was risque enough. And I said, sure, Terry, but why the hell did we see it 6 months ago in the publicity stills if y'all were going to show it so dramatically, like it was Jesus rising from the tomb? We were supposed to be so impressed, but we'd already seen it 700 times.
And to be honest, what we saw, that picture is the most beautiful part. Like, that picture is gorgeous. I think seeing it with the big hips and the shortness is less beautiful than, the pictures of it where you just see the line and the color. What did she say? Did she respond?
She said that she agreed, but she really thought the publicity was really, really smart. And then she didn't say anything else. Publicity was good. That picture's great. The Viva Las Frasers is great. But then it's like the publicity department's not talking to the producers enough to know that, no, the red dress is we've edited it to be this big deal.
Yeah.
You can't show it.
So somebody had a good point. I think it was Julie on our little text, and we're gonna wait. Am I gonna ruin your question
ahead.
you had? Okay.
Go
What I'm
ahead.
gonna say about how back when Twilight was big, and they waited to show the dress that Bella got married in, and all they showed was we never saw that dress until that movie came out.
Right.
All we saw was like a sleeve and the back of an arm, and it was such a huge reveal. That's what this, should have been, or there should be.
And you feel the same thing that Edward felt. Edward is seeing it for the first time, and we should have felt what Jamie was feeling, which is seeing that red dress for the first time. We should have felt that shock and awe, and we didn't. We were like, oh, her tits are showing more than they were in the picture. That's what we were thinking.
Or, oh my God, it's really that short? That looks ridiculous. Like, I didn't like it as much as I did in the picture.
But with today's sensibility, we see that kind of dress all the time. I called it on my recap the open heart surgery dress. So to me, if they had waited to show it, I would have just been like, okay, well, there's, you took the Pretty Woman dress, you put some hips on it and some sleeves, and then there you go. I mean, I was much more impressed by the Christian Dior homage. I thought that dress was just, I want that dress. I mean, I have no reason. When she was just walking around town and to go visit Master Raymond, it's just 1950s Dior, and it's amazing. But I think that also the fact that we're, everyone's like, oh, the dresses, the red dress, the Dior dress, the nipple dress, I think proves the point that there was hardly any good plot to talk about in this episode.
There was no plot in this episode. This episode was just a collection of stuff. Like I said, it was a collection of things that I think the book readers are going to absolutely insist on. And, I mean, I'm hoping that it's more exposition and more setup for some sort of narrative moving forward. But, it was what I call a fun episode.
It just seems like lazy storytelling almost, or lazy TV making. Like, you need to cut the fat and tell a really tight, good story on TV.
Yeah.
I don't want to see the wooden dildo and the nipples and the whatever. That's fun, and yeah, we're not in Scotland anymore. Obviously, we're in Paris. We didn't need an hour to try to convey that to viewers.
Yeah, and
tell
that's
important parts of the story.
Yeah, that's exactly what they even said they were doing. They were like, we really need to show that they're not in Scotland anymore. Well, A, you titled it that. So, you gave it away. And then, yeah, you're right. It was an entire hour just to introduce characters and to show that they weren't in Scotland anymore. That's it. That's the whole purpose of the entire hour.
Yeah, we don't need to, club club viewers over the head. We're not stupid. Like, you don't need to spell it out for everyone. Introduce people in a smart way and don't waste my time on Sunday. Sorry.
Also, when you think about it, in terms of the relationship between Jamie and Claire, there wasn't really anything other than, oh, you're freaking me out because I'm picturing you as Randall. I mean, she's still pregnant, right? Like, there's still a baby in the picture somewhere, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And Connie Sandlin, she said that she wanted to talk about that because they didn't mention her pregnancy at all, except for the maid saying, you're with child, you shouldn't be making your bed, which, what? I tried to make my bed every time I was pregnant. But, there wasn't any talk about that. And wanting, future baby daddy Jamie, that's number one on my list of Jamies that are awesome. About to have a baby Jamie is the hottest of the Jamies. Mm-hmm. I really want to see him being nervous and naive and scared, but also husbandly and sexy and stuff like that. And I'm not getting it, and I'm really upset. He hasn't even had the, am I going to hurt the baby with my penis conversation yet? And I really want that one. I don't care how cliche it is. I want that conversation. So, I'm missing it. That's what I'm saying.
Yep. I hear ya.
I would agree.
So, real quick, we've talked about the honeypot. We've talked about the dildos. We have not discussed the nipple clamps. And we have to discuss them all because we have something special to do with them. So, the swan boobs were another cool reveal that they could have given us, something that could have been a water cooler moment, but they gave it to us early again. Why? And were they gross?
How early did we get that? Did somebody just have an exclusive that morning?
No, they gave them out a couple of days before they tweeted it
that's
out.
what I meant. I don't know why. I didn't mean morning. They tweeted it? That was it?
I didn't see.
I couldn't even tell it was a swan, P.S.
Yeah,
Everyone's like, swan nipples, and it just looks like a little, frosting swirl or something.
It looked like a piercing to me. It's not. It's a clamp.
It's a piercing, yeah?
I just thought it was like boob tape on there, like.
I thought it was
taped to her
a
boob.
tapeworm. I thought it was a tapeworm, but you can't tell if it's a clamp or a piercing. It's supposed to be.
Yeah,
a
I guess
piercing.
it could look like either, but yeah.
Those were gross.
Potato, nipple clamp, piercing.
Well, that was to me the best part of the episode. Not that they revealed her titties, but Murtagh's reaction to it. He was just he's the voice in our head. Like when Bonnie Prince Charlie is there and he's just like, just slit his throat now. And I'm just like, yes, because then you could give me something interesting to do instead of listening to this lispy dude whose accent I can't figure out. And then when he was go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I feel like Murtagh is like all of us. Like, Duncan, whatever your last name is, please come on the show because you are all of us in every episode. Like the faces and the can we go home and all of that. Or him. Like, let's just have a show about him now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want him to have his own show. He was so awesome in this episode. He was just like, you could just gift him, from here to next week with all the looks. I watched it right before we did this. And I just watched him. Like, any scene he was in, I just watched his reaction. And he has, like, droll and, like, oh, please spare me, like, down pat.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And that little fighting.
Wash your knees. Why don't you wash your knees? And he's like, I did. Whatever his accent is.
I think we should get Murtagh laid trending. Could we try to get that trending?
Yeah.
Can you start hashtagging that, Nikki?
Hashtag
Get
get
Murtagh
Murtagh laid. Get Murtagh laid.
That is the goal.
What's his handle? What's his last name?
It's
LaCroix? LaCroix, that drink you love.
It doesn't come up. Well, whatever.
I think we've tweeted him a couple times this week, but
Wow.
yeah, I loved this scene with him and Jamie fighting because it felt like, really honestly, the first scene we've had where Jamie is like Jamie.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
And forever, he was Jamie in that particular scene, 100%. And I was really excited about that because that's why I'm watching this stupid show. I'm watching it for glimpses of James or Malcolm Mackenzie Fraser, and that's about it. And there it was, fighting with Murtagh, not having sex, not being smart or not doing anything else, but fighting with Murtagh. There you go.
I
there
liked
he
it
is, right
too,
there.
but it was 5 minutes too long. Like again, like every little scene that okay, just why did that need to be as long as it was? Like Nikki said, like condense. That's like the goal of a really good fast movie. It doesn't have to be. TV shows don't have to be fast moving. They have to be paced correctly though. And this doesn't feel like this episode wasn't for sure paced correctly.
What is it? What do they need? Do they need like a script supervisor? Is Diana need to be on set like consulting, or is she the problem? Are the books too meandering for them to condense into like a good pace? Because it was our problem with last season. It just seemed paced so badly. Like, what do they need? Do they need me to come? I'll come to Scotland.
And if you don't agree, tweet us. Tell us what you think. Like, are we being too harsh? Some of us being too harsh on the pacing of it? Because that's probably always been and Nikki's for sure. I don't know. I just lost my words. They left. What am I doing? Complaining?
I worry that I'm gonna say this because I don't care if people hate my guess. Whatever. As I was a huge Battlestar Galactica fan, and that show went off the flipping rails. And I feel like for seasons, Ron Moore lied to us. The Cylons have a plan. In the end, they had no plan. And so now that he's taken over my favorite book series, I feel like he doesn't have a plan once again. So I wonder if maybe he's trying to be too kind to Diana and not really, I don't know, listening to other people, but I think that Ron Moore is the problem. Anyway, slit my throat, I don't care, whatever, I'm drunk.
But didn't you get the inclination from this episode that he's going to be going in somewhat of a different direction?
But why?
In what way?
Well, in the way, certainly in the ending of the episode where now all of a sudden, Claire has this secret, like Randall is really alive, and what's she gonna do with that? Is she gonna tell Jamie? Is she gonna not tell him?
Yeah.
I think she's gonna have to, but
because in the books, you would know this better than me, but they find out together, correct? Yes.
Yes.
So I don't know. I mean, I felt like maybe there's a little bit of a setup for going in slightly different directions. Again, what we were talking about with this whole Annalise thing, and it's going to be some sort of triangle, and
that could work.
Like
her keeping a secret, and
So I mean, maybe he sees some sort of concerns with the narrative that may or may not be in the book, and is kind of taking matters into his own hands. I don't honestly know.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right that he's definitely taking it in a different direction, because they're not connected right now. They're not connected physically, they're not on the same page, and that kind of becomes more apparent that they're not on the same page. And so the fact that they're not, and she's going to keep this secret, and he's going to have secrets as well, is a total departure from where they are in Dragonfly, especially because later on they really aren't on the same page. And so I feel like we're missing so much of what makes you love it, which is their relationship. And you missed that in season 1. There were plenty of times where it didn't. Do you guys think, this is kind of our big question that we always talk about between us on That's Normal, but you guys tell us if you think the same thing, Carol. Like, do you think that missing some of the things that make the book so awesome, like Waterweed, and when he's out her door in the inn and he says, "I'm just waiting my turn," and then when she comes back from the stones and he's got tear tracks on his face, and then this scene with the honeypot, like, do you think that maybe Ron / the writers kind of don't get it? Like, they're missing some of the things that book readers actually truly love in favor for the other little details?
I think that it's completely different on screen, and they feel that they're not going to be able to tell the story correctly, so they'd rather switch things up and show it to us visually differently. I think there's just so many areas that they just say, well, we can't do it that way, we're never going to be able to bring that across, so we're going to do it this way. And I think we're going to see a lot of changes from the books. I really do.
And I have no problem with those changes. Like, I think I know that things translate differently, but I think, like, to Beth's point, like, you can still, if you have 2 actors that you do, I think we have that in. I think Sam can pull off the tear tracks look and, like, it not be terrible. I think he totally could have done that. And the lines, they're giving him cheesy lines. Like, they're not, when he said, like, the lines, the few things that we have wanted him to say, it's worked really well. So I totally think that they could do both. Do this thing, what you need to do with the story, but then keeping in those things that just are needed.
Yeah.
When he said you're ripping my guts out, Claire, in season 1, like, that was Jamie. Give me more of that stuff. Because you're right, Sam can do it.
Yeah, the Reckoning was stellar in that way. Reckoning really, really, really hit, like, the good stuff. Are you laughing because I'm pouring myself more wine?
Like, slurp, slurp, slurp. I just heard it real loud.
I just came out with the best question I've had all season, and this is my 3rd glass, so we're doing better. This is good.
I'm going to jump in. I think there's a fine line. There's a fine line of being a really great TV producer, making a visual story out of a book, and then there's also being true to what makes the book popular and makes the book readable. I'm going to take it back to Twilight again. Think about the first movie, which missed so many major moments for fans and so many moments that made those books what they were. And then finally, you could see as production people and studios and all of those people started to hone in on what fans were talking about, then it got better. And they were including those lines, and it hit every time when they included those key moments. So
I'm thinking of this. Yeah, I'm thinking of this. Yeah, this Right, major thing that happened in the third movie of Twilight that like we were like championing and so many people were, that is this little line in a book when Edward and Bella are like making out on a bed and he hitches her leg over his hip and we call it the leg hitch, and like that was all we wanted. We wanted to see that, and we did, and I think that had everything to do with fans saying, we need this leg hitch. I mean, it's nothing. It's a little acting while they're in bed making out, and they purposefully shot that, and it was beautiful. It was done so well, and like maybe nobody else would notice it, but it was such a perfect like homage to you guys are important to us, and I think that that is something that, despite whatever you think about the movies or the books, like they did so well to connect with fans.
Do you guys think that like if you said to Ron, you know, yeah, but we didn't really get honeypot, he'd be like, you did get honeypot. It's right there. I gave it to you. Come on.
You didn't get the nuance. They're not getting the nuance.
Yeah.
Like, of course, you said the word honeypot, and it was about her waxing, but you missed 100% what the point of that scene is. And the same thing with waterweed. Like, who doesn't remember Brass Rod and Waterweed from the first book? Everybody remembers that scene. It's like it's engraved in your brain, and they totally missed it. And you got the scene, but you missed that part of it. And so there's just it does frustrate you that you can do awesome stuff like get the leg hitch. You literally see Robert Pattinson's hand come up over Kristen Stewart's hip and put it over his leg, and you're like, yes.
I mean, they literally talk about it in the commentary about how they knew they had to include certain things. And that's not to say you have to do all of the things that fans talk about, because if you think about the end of Twilight, they completely changed it, and it was the best thing they could have done. So it was like finding the balance of fan moments and being a great TV maker. Keep wanting to say filmmaker.
Yeah.
A guy with a fedora and a blue goatee wrote this episode, so I'm not totally shocked that he did not get the nuance of the honeypot scene.
Yeah. How many women are on writing staff? I don't want to be that person, but I also
be that person. Be that person.
I do. I just want to know. Like, there needs to be a balance of who's writing this stuff.
Yeah, and I'll say this. Ira, the guy who wrote this episode, is the same guy who wrote The Garrison Commander, which was one of the best episodes of season 1. And obviously it took a huge departure from the books, but still understood the nuance of what that book was about. And then this one totally lost it. So I don't know. It's like it's a crapshoot. I wish they were more consistent. I wish I could say, oh, let Ira write those episodes because he's great. But then he wrote this one, and it was total shit. So
yeah.
It was not total shit, according to King Louis, because it was not a crapshoot, but it was not total shit.
Yeah. It was complete shit.
So we're not done with that. We're going to find out that he was able to shit after eating porridge, right? We're going to have this discussion again.
How long does one have to eat porridge to shit? Like, is it Sinicot? Like, what is this amazing substance in porridge? Is it oats? Is it oatmeal?
Isn't porridge like a binding thing? Do you really want to eat porridge? I think you would want to eat like some fruit, like really ripe fruit or something.
I have a feeling there's a chapter on it in the Outlandish Companion right behind Tracy right now.
Read to us about constipation.
Right? Draft beer and a cigarette, and you're good to go.
Real good cup of coffee.
Coffee, right?
Yeah. I just have to say, you can't show a gun in Act 1 and then not use it in Act 3. So if we don't see that royal shit, then we are in some serious storytelling disappointment because we deserve it at this point. We had to look in the privy.
That is called Chekhov's shit, ladies and gentlemen.
Exactly. Exactly. Thank you very much. So that being said, this is not a huge book spoiler moment, okay, so keep it general, but all of this being said about them kind of like missing some of the moments, what is your number one moment in the rest of Dragonfly that you hope they get totally, totally right? Mine, I'll go ahead and say, is super spoilery, so just kind of hold on. I'm going to try to say it as generally as I can, but the stones. Like, just get the stones right, or I will lose my mind because you fucked up the stones in season 1, and I need them to be the most I need them to be Lady Evil's death in Downton Abbey sad. I need them to be My Girl sad. I need them to be all of the sadness that happens when you watch movies. I need to cry a million tears.
They didn't even get the stones right in season 1.
Right, that's what she just said, yeah.
No, I'm just saying, cross your fingers.
She doesn't have hope for you.
Lower my expectations. Lower my expectations.
Lower them up.
What do we used to say? Accept it now.
Accept it now.
What you think
Not
is
gonna
going to
be great.
happen isn't going to happen.
I liked the Stones in season 1. I know I've come across as the ultimate hater tonight, but I loved the Stones in season 1. But I totally agree with you, Beth. Like, in the book, so much happened between going to battle and interactions with other people, Dougal, and then the Stones. If they get that right and the pacing is good, oh my gosh, I'll be riveted. So please get that right.
Well, I think for me, I can't say like a specific thing, but I do, and here's a positive thing about what I like. I like, we talked about it last week, that they opened the season differently than the books do when they did. This isn't really a big spoiler other than we said this is not how the books open. So there is something that we know will happen. We know characters are going to be introduced that we're not sure how it's going to happen yet because it's different than the book, and I want that to be right. Like that shock that we know is coming of like, I want that to be right. That's happening. They cast people, right? So that's happening this season.
Yeah.
I'm going to guess it's very, very much towards the end.
Yeah.
That is going to be key for me.
Okay.
Okay.
What about you guys?
Yeah.
Who has
I want the Stones. I want the Stones. And you know what? And I know it's such a small moment. I want the engraving. I want the, the J and the C.
But she didn't have it.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't see it.
Is it possible
You think you would have? You think you would have?
I think so. I think they're replacing it with the ring. That big ring that she was looking at.
See, the J and the C to me is like the wedding ring. 2 others. I didn't have a huge issue with the key ring versus the other ring, but the J and the C is a big deal.
I think so too, because it's like a reinvention of their blood vow, and it's something that crosses the boundaries. It's a big deal. Yeah, but I think they're not gonna have it.
Chuchelo on Twitter is asking if Diana wrote the Stones episode.
No.
Okay. Anna, no. The answer is no.
She wrote episode 11.
Yes.
But I don't know at what point in the timeline that is.
It's not in episode 11, from what I understand. I might be wrong. I haven't seen that far, you guys.
Yeah, everybody's saying, everyone's agreeing on the Stones. The Stones, I'll cut someone. The Stones.
Well, let's think of another moment. So what's a different moment besides the Stones, you guys?
Oh, well.
What's in the box? What's in the box? I totally interrupted you. I'm sorry.
I'm thinking of the introduction of another character in the final, let's say, third of this season.
Oh. We can say his name. That's not spoilery. Lord John?
I'm not sure really how they're going to handle it. Not sure about ages, not sure about, that type of thing. But I'm really looking forward to that and the Stones.
I think, honestly, Carol, this is going to be so sad because it's a young dude. I think it's going to be a throwaway moment.
Yes, that's pretty much what I'm figuring.
Why? Because he's so old. Is he like
so we'll get more Annalise, who matters nothing, than we do Lord John Grey, who is such a huge part.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I think so. It's going to suck because I agree. I would be totally down with some awesome Lord Johnness.
That's true.
Oh, bull.
Not to break your heart, but Rachel says, I read somewhere that Diana said they aren't doing the engraving. I don't know if that's true, but
I want to know why. Like, that's like okay, explain.
Tracy, take another drink.
Yeah.
Drink again, Tracy.
I'm going to kick this away.
My other favorite thing about Twitter tonight is there are a lot of confused people in the fandom who don't know what hashtag Hang Outlander is. We're literally hanging Outlander. That's my favorite.
Aww.
Get in the know, guys. Get in the know.
There are so many tweets, so like we can't even keep up. So if you want to just go back and like read through them, they're hilarious and amazing. So thank you guys so much for interacting. And we have more live viewers right now than I think we've ever had on one of these.
Oh
so,
my God.
Yay,
congratulations.
My Outlander.
Nice.
Yeah.
Thank you, my
Sorry,
Outlander.
we're usually not so mean.
Right, I know. Like this is a bad episode for new people to be.
I
We're really
disagree.
big fans, I swear. We're big fans.
Huge fans.
We do this every week.
So these 6 alcoholics walked into a bar and started talking about Outlander.
Oh, I have one more question. This is my last question, so let's make it good. Will we see James' penis in season 2? What do you think? Thumbs up for yes? Thumbs down for no?
Why wouldn't they show it to us?
Well, now that they're talking about a cock ring, I didn't know that's a thing. Thumbs up. Let's do it.
But I feel like with European dudes, they're loath to show their peens on screen because they're uncircumcised, and when they're not hard, they look like turtlenecks.
I think it's the suits in the executive offices don't like to see male full frontal on their TV shows, so that's my call.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna. I think he's too. I think it's showing a star, Robert Pattinson. It's not like it's one thing to show Tobias, secondary, very important character, but why do I still have my thumb down? I mean, I do.
Could you back up and go back to the Robert Pattinson thing?
You're never going to see that, Carol.
Damn it.
Well, I will settle. I'll tell you. I'll settle for Stanley Weber's. I'll settle.
Oh, yes.
Stanimal.
I'm just kidding. If my mom and my sister are watching this, I don't want to see anyone's penis. And in reality, I really don't. That's kind of gross. But I mean, Tobias's was like gray. Wasn't it like?
Well, that's the problem. You see them flaccid, and it just seems, and you don't want to see them buoyant either. It's just, it's a weird appendage, and I mean, I love it, but.
Okay. Well, I think that we'll get more nudity from both of them, and I think the only thing of Sam's that we haven't seen are his ankles and his scrot. So ankles
The grundle.
or ball sack. Those are the two things we need to get from Sam before we have a full picture. I'm so drunk that
I was going to say, I haven't had enough to drink to be on this show.
That's my next song. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home.
Oh my God!
Love it.
Oh my God. Hi, all the new viewers.
We just harmonized.
You did.
It was good.
I mean, it was delayed by like a good second, but it was a nice harmony.
It was like Mary Hawkins' stutter. It was, good times.
We're all getting the same text right now, so mute your.
Oh gosh.
Just 4 of us need to mute.
Okay, I have no further questions.
Oh, God.
I think we have a winner. Nikki, do you?
We do. Yeah, Lisa at Young Street. You were a first-time viewer, and you're going to win tonight. Thank you for tweeting so much with us.
Yay!
Playing along.
If you are, you might be a private. Either my computer's not working or you're private. So follow us so we can follow you back, and we will direct message you to figure out your address and where we can send this lovely flask.
You will enjoy it. You will get so much love out of that flask. So much is going to happen.
And we got a bonus hat.
Bonus hat.
That makes the package too big. You're not going to send that hat.
I'm keeping this hat. This is an important hat. You guys, this was amazing. I'm so excited about all the, looking at the Twitter. Every time I look, it's like 50 new tweets.
Yes.
It's that exciting.
Don't die. Okay, so next week we have absolutely loved having Carol and Tracy on from My Outlander Purgatory. They'll be with us again, hopefully in a few weeks. Next week, Kendra and her husband, it starts with a B. I can't remember his name. I'm really sorry.
Bill.
But they just started a new podcast, Kendra Spring. She's going to be on this next week, and we're really looking forward to that as well. Carol and Tracy, thank you so much, guys.
That's so much fun.
Yay!
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
It was so good to see you. Follow us on Twitter. We'll tweet out what the link is for next week. But if you ever forget, it's bit.ly/hangoutlander and then the episode number, which is 203 for next week.
That's right.
Next week,
And-
same time.
You don't have to have Google Plus to love us. You can just watch it on
You
YouTube.
just need to have an internet. The
right.
internet. Yep. A computer. Even a phone will work.
And follow Purgatory Carol, follow My Outlander Purg, love them on their blog and on Facebook. We love you guys. Thank
Love
you so much.
Thank you. Good night.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.